Welcome to the Wors of The RIOT podcast. Coming up, how Cheetos might be making you ugly.
Also, is a coworker who brings their child to work the worst one, and more on the Wors of The RIOT podcast.
Isaiah, you know what else is this week?
What's that?
Did you know last night was the State of the Union address?
Was it?
Yeah.
I was kind of busy last night.
Yeah, so you didn't know?
Didn't know.
Didn't watch any of it?
Didn't get to catch any of it.
Joe Biden speaking to...
He was talking?
Yeah, he did.
That's always entertaining.
He did a Willy Wonka somersault up to the podium.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. But I watched some of it. It didn't start. It was supposed to start at 9 Eastern. When I saw that, I was like, well, that's real late. And then he was late. So it didn't start till like almost 9:30. And, you know, I don't know if you ever watched the State of the Union. And I don't even know if I've ever seen this before. But when you arrive, when you're the president, you arrive, I guess. You don't just like get there and then walk up to the podium. You have to, like, everybody's standing and cheering and there's fanfare and you have to like shake hands with every person between the door and the podium. So
that was the first 20 minutes, huh?
Yeah, so he gets there late after I'm sitting here waiting for the speech to start. And it's just you just hear the analyst of like, well, it'll be interesting to see whether, all the thing. And it's so boring. And then it's just literally 10 minutes of him shaking people's hands.
And he's not a fast handshaker.
No. Yeah, he was soaking it up. He was really
that's because he was thinking of what he was going to say.
Yeah, that's right. He had to prepare himself. And so he did. I watched part of the speech, but it started so late and then it's long. And so I didn't get through the whole thing before I went to bed before Joe Biden did. I'll just put it that way. But if you look at any of the reaction today, everybody is saying what you expect them to say. Just if you know who the person is, you know what they already think. They think the same thing after the speech.
Well, it's not going to change anybody's opinion.
No, yeah, it's like, why even have it? Almost.
Were there any good memes that came out of last night? That's my question.
Yeah.
There's got to be lots of good memes, huh?
Do you know who Mike Johnson is?
Mike Johnson.
Why don't you just take a guess who Mike Johnson is?
Who's Mike Johnson?
Mike Johnson's the Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen
Of course.
him.
Yeah.
Now that I Google him.
Yeah. Kind of, my wife pointed out, kind of looks like Stephen Colbert.
Oh, is that where she's going? Okay.
Yeah.
I could see it.
He's the Speaker of the House. People thought his reactions, because the memes are going to be the Vice President Kamala Harris and Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, are sitting directly behind the president, Joe Biden, when he's giving the speech. And so Kamala Harris is just standing up, cheering all the time. And then you got Mike Johnson, who occasionally would like clap or whatever, but also like made some faces. Yeah,
he's like nodding his head in disapproval, just side to side.
Yeah, I actually thought compared to previous times I've watched the State of the Union, he seemed a little more supportive than the leader of an opposition party right behind the president. He didn't get up and cheer for stuff, but he didn't seem as angry as some others I've seen. But still, yeah, he's probably the meme from yesterday.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. New York Times put that one out of him just being in disapproval right behind him. I mean, yet again, having him on camera right behind Joe Biden is crazy.
Yeah, well, it makes it fair and equal. It does. One Republican, one Democrat, and then they each get to try to react however they want.
Yes, exactly. Kamala's like standing up, clapping, cheering.
Every time.
Every single, after every sentence.
That's what made the speech so long, is that after like a simple sentence, everybody would get up and cheer. I mean,
and Joe Biden was surprised every time.
And you know who made some good faces too is Joe Biden.
I can imagine. He's
got a great face, face. So if you missed the State of the Union, I don't know that I really recommend going back and watching it. I don't think it's just a speech, just another speech.
A long one.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
I don't know if you saw this recently, Isaiah, but your nemesis is at it again. Elon Musk. He's talking about making some changes to X. Most people call it Twitter, but it's X now. And he says, this is in a series of tweets on posts, that he is planning to get rid of retweets and like counts displayed on tweets. So now, obviously, you can tweet out whatever, but nobody will know how many retweets, replies, and likes any individual tweet has.
Interesting concept.
Yeah. You think this is better or worse for Twitter? I mean, X.
I think it won't make a huge amount of difference.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram has done this already.
Yeah.
You can't see like counts on there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now X doing the same thing. It's going to make it look a little bit more newsy, I feel like.
A little more newsy.
Yeah, because there's no likes and retweets.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the people that are posting out, like for the everyday folks like you,
Yeah.
you're searching for likes and retweets.
Yeah. It's what I crave.
So now your silly puns that you tweet out, much more unlikely to tweet out.
Yeah.
Because you don't get that like and retweet.
That's right. Also, maybe think about this, though. People way more likely to tweet out really, really stupid takes because you can't get ratioed if people can't see what the ratio is.
It's true.
So I think that also could be a consequence that we wind up seeing here. Now, for me, I feel like on Instagram, it makes sense. I can get the psychology of wanting to get rid of the likes, right? Because you don't want to have that negative reinforcement on people looking at other people's posts going, oh, look at all the likes they got because they're so pretty or whatever. But for me, mine don't get as many. But on Twitter, I don't think it's the same because this isn't your looks that we're talking about. This isn't aesthetics. This is just your thoughts, which you're in charge of. So I think that your thoughts should be subject to the judgment of the internet as a whole.
Well, also,
and it is a whole, by the way.
Not every post that people post on Instagram are of their face.
Yeah.
They post like pictures of their food.
Uh-huh.
They post pictures of vacations. So it's not always getting likes based on looks.
But there's pressure to post that kind of stuff because that's what gets the likes.
Is what? Your face?
No, just vacate. Like, oh, look at once again, the ideal side of your life. And I mean, would Instagram be as fun if people were posting like sad stuff? Probably not. But for Twitter, it's just a way different vibe that I don't feel like your self-esteem needs to be taken into account as much on Twitter.
Well, happy Friday to everybody.
Yeah.
Hudson says we don't care about your self-esteem if you're on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't think, I stand by that statement. Useless knowledge coming up next.
The only thing Isaiah loves more than the riot is himself.
Someone who probably still lives with his mother and hates himself.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Big announcement came yesterday. Jake Paul has announced his next fight. It's going to be against one of the great boxers of all time, Mike Tyson. Saturday, July 20th, live from AT&T Stadium in Texas on Netflix.
Some big names.
Massive names. Mike Tyson, one of the top 5. If I ask anybody to name 5 boxers from history, he's one of them. He's on the Mount Rushmore. Then you have Jake Paul, one of the biggest names in just entertainment straight up in the United States right now. But you also think Mike Tyson's 58. Jake Paul's 27. It's kind of doesn't seem fair, does it?
Doesn't seem fair at all.
How does it make you feel when you see this announcement?
I mean, I hate it
Mm-hmm.
for many reasons. I've read comments, forums on this. A lot of people think Mike Tyson is going to win.
Yeah.
I think because his name's Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
This dude's almost 60 years old.
Uh-huh.
Do you think he has a chance to win?
I shouldn't have to pause that long. I don't think it's going to be fair. For one, I just don't think this is going to be a fight where there's any going into the fight. Either side has any questions about who's going to win. You know what I'm saying? This isn't like, oh, I don't know. We're each going to try our best and see how it goes. There's some kind of agreement already, I feel. The outcome is predetermined. I feel like if it was a true fight, it still doesn't seem fair. It feels like Jake Paul would win. But Mike Tyson, his thing was always like, he can knock you out. And I feel like he could still have some of that power still at 58 years old. But at the same time, it doesn't matter how much power you have when you suffer from sciatica and sometimes have to use a wheelchair, which is Mike Tyson. So I don't think he's going to win.
Neither do I. I can't believe he's even going. Why would he even do this?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say how I feel when I see this announcement is mostly like sad because it's like, why is Mike Tyson doing this? Obviously it's going to be a massive payday. one of the, possibly, and this is crazy to say with all the fights that he's done, one of the biggest paydays of his career, possibly, of his entire life. But at the same time, it feels like with all those other massive paydays, he just wouldn't need to take this one because it's just kind of sad and depressing that he's doing this.
His current net worth, Mike Tyson,
Yeah.
$10 million.
It feels like it should be higher.
He had a little reset in 2003.
Yeah. Yeah.
Went through a lot of money.
Yeah. He went through a lot of money. He's lived a hard life. That's the thing. He's like, although he's a boxer, and so he has all that talent, he also has boxed for like 50 years. And so he lived hard outside of that. So his body has experienced a lot of abuse for a 58-year-old.
But he's going to like triple his net worth with this.
Yeah.
I mean, even more than that.
Yeah. I also, though, another thing I feel when I see this announced, and see if you feel the same, as much as I hate it, I feel a little FOMO. It feels like the kind of thing, like, I don't want to not watch this.
You want to watch,
that's
don't
why
you?
everybody criticizing it, there's definitely an aspect of, like, you don't want to miss this because you don't know. Even though I feel like the outcome is predetermined, I still kind of want to know what happens. I don't want to miss something cool because it's not just going to be boring, right? It's not going to be boring.
No, it won't be boring.
But it's coming
Hopefully.
up. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, July 20th on Netflix.
We're not sure who behaves worse, the Riot or their dogs.
I don't even know how to behave like a real human being.
The Riot, Radio U.
Because the Oscars are coming up. Which actor has the best hair? It's answered in the pod. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts. The Worst of the Riot podcast. Isaiah, I have information here about 2 major restaurant chains that may be about to combine forces. You tell me if you think this is a match made in heaven. Applebee's and IHOP.
An interesting duo. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, quite the combo. But they're both owned by the same company, Dine Brands. And so the idea is they may start opening up here in the near future dual branded locations. So it would be IHOP and Applebee's in the same building, and they'd share, obviously, the same kitchen. But then you could either, I guess, half of it would be like, if you want pancakes, and the other half would be wings.
Oh, so it's not like they're combining to where you could order either.
I think you could, or I don't know. I've never, have you ever seen, I've seen fast food restaurants like this. Taco Bell and something. KFC, probably, usually. Sometimes, have you ever seen a Taco Bell Pizza Hut? Those are fun.
But they're 2 separate things.
Yeah, but you can order
2 separate
either
places to order.
Yeah. No, when it's combined like that, at a fast food restaurant, you can just order whatever you want.
Really? I've never seen that.
You've never seen that? The A&W and Long John Silver's in the bad part of town here? You never been there?
Never been there.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
I don't know if it's a concept that's really been embraced in recent years. I feel like it's more of an outdated thing. And I've definitely never seen it as far as sit-down restaurants go. So I don't know if you could sit down at a table and one person could order pancakes and the other person could order a margarita and boneless wings, and they just bring that all out to you at the same table. I don't know. Could you sit at the bar at Applebee's and order pancakes? That sounds kind of wild to me. But, I mean, otherwise, why combine them?
Because you have to think, too, they're both doing okay on their own. They're not, like, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not like the first place on a Saturday night, I'm like, I got to go to Applebee's.
Yeah.
And when I go to breakfast places, IHOP is not the first place I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2 of them together, I don't hate it.
Could they make it just easier for everybody to get along? To make it easier to choose a place, because then you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. If you have a group that's divided, half the group wants to go to IHOP, half the group wants to go to Applebee's.
Which happens more often than you think.
Yeah, no more debate. Now, problem solved. Or is this just a way, this is probably the real explanation, right? Mostly people go to IHOP in the morning. Mostly people go to Applebee's. Doesn't probably even open till like 11 o'clock. And so there's probably not a lot of crossovers, but it's just like, why not share the building type thing is probably really what it is.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That makes much more sense.
Way smarter. No one eats at IHOP after 11 o'clock. No one eats at Applebee's in general. So it makes sense to have that be open in the afternoon for them.
So what do we call it? Do we call it
Apple Hop.
Apple Hop?
Yes.
I was thinking IHOPPlebee's.
IHOPPlebee's?
Yeah.
I like Apple Hop.
Apple. Either way. It's a match made in heaven, isn't it?
See, I think if they're open late,
Yeah.
which I would hope they would, I'm fine with pancakes at midnight.
Some IHOPs are 24 hours. So this is really, it feels like it makes IHOP more like Denny's. And we all love Denny's.
We don't all love Denny's.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
Isaiah, did you get a notification on your phone yesterday from TikTok telling you to call Congress?
I did not.
If you did, you didn't notice?
Didn't see it.
A lot of people did. I did not get it because I just have TikTok notifications turned off, but apparently the notification worked. TikTok sent out a notification asking people to call their congressman and tell them not to ban TikTok. Some say that backfired because Congress, like members of Congress, their offices got so many calls, they didn't know what to do with them all. And then the reason that TikTok was doing this is because there is a bill that's going through Congress right now that would be a ban on TikTok. And it was going through what's called committee yesterday in the House. It passed committee 50-0. Unanimous. Bipartisan.
They're up to something.
Trouble for TikTok. Here, now that doesn't mean that the bill is gone through yet. That's just committee. Now it has to go through I don't even know how it exactly works, but it has to go through the House. Probably Senate needs to do something. The president probably has to sign it. I don't know. I think.
You want to learn how a bill becomes a law?
Yeah.
Have you heard the song?
Yeah, if only there was a song for that. In Schoolhouse Rock, perhaps. So it passed unanimous bipartisan support through this committee. So now it's going to keep on moving forward. The way it would work is unless TikTok, after this whatever passes and whatever, they would have 180 days to be sold from their Chinese ownership company, ByteDance. And if they don't get sold from that company, then TikTok would actually be banned. And the way they would ban it is they would punish app stores and web hosting services that host TikTok. So we're saying this actually could be the one that does TikTok in, or at least makes them sell themselves away from China.
Because, yeah, ByteDance is a Chinese company.
Uh-huh.
And I assume our politicians are saying that they're stealing our information, right?
Stealing and using it to spread propaganda, basically.
Gotcha.
Brainwash us. Yeah.
And I've seen that a lot, yet again, on the forums, on the comments, that TikTok is just full of propaganda.
Yeah.
And things that the Chinese government is putting on there because they want us to watch. Mine, yet again, mainly dog videos.
Uh-huh.
So apparently, the Chinese government really wants me to get it figured out with my dog at home because of all these emotional dog videos that keep on getting on TikTok. But I would also say...
you know what? They probably just identified you as, useless to them anyways.
Exactly.
They're like, we can show this guy anything.
He can just be on the normal TikTok. Now, the important people...
That's right.
They need to see the propaganda.
Hudson gets to see the propaganda.
Yeah. And also, if the government is so serious about this, I would really like it. I would really like it if they just, open the curtain for us. Made us understand what exactly information they're stealing from me. They made us understand.
You want to see some proof.
I want to see what the heck they're talking about. I mean, yet again, it's not like they're hiding behind some curtain because they're the ones that are stealing our information, even though they are. But we're talking about the Chinese government here, which is a different government. Throw them under the bus. Go ahead and pull the curtain out. Tell me what all they're doing to me so I can understand why you're banning TikTok.
Yeah.
Why are you not telling me what they're doing? I don't understand.
If
it's a 50-0 piece here, and you guys are all on the same page.
How often does that happen?
Never.
Never.
So why don't you guys just go ahead and
TikTok.
share the information that you're so against TikTok for? Share it.
I wonder if you're going to start seeing videos on TikTok of being like, see, they hate this because it means there's something that they know that we don't know. You know what I mean? It's going around.
I've seen so many. One of the ones I really liked
Uh-huh.
was that there's so many people on TikTok
Yeah.
that we could start a revolution. That's one of my favorite ones recently.
Yeah. That's
As
good.
if Facebook has just never existed.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not as upset about banning TikTok as maybe I was in the past because it's not like there's not other options. Like TikTok's like, they're going to take away your freedom of speech is what they said in the notification apparently they sent out. It's like, yeah, but you could just go freely speak on Instagram instead if you want. Like there's other.
Or Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter.
Facebook. People love freely speaking on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. They're real free on there. So, but I'm warning you, it could be slightly more than 180 days from now. TikTok might be gone just in time for the election.
You don't always have to agree with Isaiah to always disagree with Hudson. The Riot. Radio U.
But I got some more movie factos here. Factos. Factoids, some might say. I've got a list here of the most expensive movies ever made. And you're going to see a theme here. I'll just start at number one. Number one, the most expensive movie ever made. $447 million it cost. Star Wars The Force Awakens.
It's a lot of money.
Sure is.
Have you seen it?
That's the first new Star Wars, right?
Yes.
Yes, then I saw it.
Did you like it?
It was okay. It was a Star Wars movie.
True.
And it wasn't a bad Star Wars movie.
That's important.
Number two, wait, did you see it?
I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't went through the Star Wars movies yet. I've seen a couple, but I haven't went through them all.
Which ones have you seen?
The beginning ones.
Like the old ones?
The old ones.
Like Darth Vader?
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Number two, most expensive movie ever made. Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom.
Seen that one.
$432 million. Is that the first new Jurassic World when they brought it back? When you just see these movies separated from the franchise.
That's the second one, I believe.
I'm always which one in the series is that? Because based off of the name,
that's the second
name
one.
Doesn't tell me much.
I've seen the first one and the second one.
Yeah, haven't seen the third. Then you have number three, most expensive movie ever made, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, $416 million. Then Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. This one of the least successful of these expensive movies. It cost $379 million to make. It only made $241 million in North America.
Pirates of the Caribbean had good movies, though.
Yeah, they did. And then number five was Avengers Age of Ultron.
Shocking.
$365 million. That's the most expensive Avengers movie.
Is that not shocking to people?
It is surprising. So the theme I was getting at here is that they're all massive. The bulk of the budget has to come from all the CGI, right?
Yeah.
All the effects. And I guess in a way I knew that, but then again, it makes you think in the back of my mind, I'm always it's got to be the actors that are so expensive, right? They are, but they're nothing compared to the CGI budget.
Not even close. If you look at the next two, Avengers Endgame, Avatar The Way of Water, huge CGI movies here.
Yeah. And I don't even know if I know an actor in Avatar.
And then you think the same thing when we talk about a lot recently, when new movies come out, we're like, oh my gosh, the CGI stinks. Like Ant-Man and Quantumania or whatever.
People hated the CGI.
People hated that, but I understand because it's so expensive. It must be so expensive to make it good.
Yeah, it clearly costs a lot. And then but I guess what it makes me wonder is why? Why is it so expensive to CGI all that stuff? What is it? What is the money actually going to?
Can't be sure.
Yeah, I don't understand how it works.
But if you look,
why does it cost so much?
This is also for Marvel. This is showing that some of the recent movies they came out with, they have not paid a lot of money for those movies.
That's right.
Age of Ultron, Endgame, Infinity War. These are some of the most expensive movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
So how in the world are they supposed to come out with Ant-Man Quantumania and have the CGI look even close to as good?
I'm looking at
no wonder it was this good.
The top 20 here, or the top 12, and none of the Marvel movies that have been made since 2020 are on this list. So yeah, no wonder they're not looking as good, right? And you think about almost all these movies, as much money as they spent, they still made it back. So, but it's a chicken or the...
they just had gold in their hands.
Yeah. So it's a chicken or the egg thing. Is Marvel not making enough money because they're not spending enough? Or are they not putting the money in because they know the stuff isn't going to be as good?
And then how did Fast X get to number 8?
Yeah. I think that could be the actors.
Yeah, that is true.
It's star-studded cast.
Hudson is the maple syrup, and Isaiah is the power protein flapjack. This is The Riot on Radio U.
A man stripped down naked.
Whoa. You said video?
Yeah. It's blurred out. I got a man stripped down naked on the roof of a Burger King. He's taking a little bath in one of the water tanks on top of a Burger King, and he was doing it fully nude.
And this is something that we are... Obviously, he's going to jail.
I don't know is it a crime to be nude on the roof of a Burger King?
It absolutely is.
In the country of Colombia where this took place, by the way.
This is a good sign for children.
Uh-huh.
Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
I like how it was in broad daylight. You might think this type of thing would occur possibly in the evening under the cover of darkness, but no, this man in the middle of the day, probably during the lunch rush at Burger King, just hopped on top of the roof naked and got in one of those water tanks.
And then you wonder many questions.
Uh-huh.
What were the workers' reaction to this? Do they immediately call the cops? Someone's on our roof taking a bath. What do the police say to that?
I don't know if the workers were any the wiser. Because if you were working at Burger King, would you be paying attention to what's going on the roof?
But don't you think somebody...
Maybe this was a worker.
Don't you think somebody would be going to the drive-thru like, hey...
Yeah.
Somebody's on your roof as you're ordering.
Mm.
Also, I'd like a Junior Whopper.
Would you pull away if you saw this guy naked on the roof of the Burger King? Would you be like, I'm going somewhere else for lunch today? Or maybe I just kind of lost my appetite even.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I would. There's no way I'm staying at that Burger King.
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere else.
You got to wonder, where does that water go? That water that he's naked.
Oh,
no. It does say that the rooftop water tank was in no way involved with the restaurant's day-to-day.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Day-to-day food processes.
Yep.
Also, the Burger King is now temporarily closed. But
kind of stinks for them.
Yeah.
Because they didn't ask this man to take a bath on their roof.
No, but now the workers, you have to assume, get like a paid day off, right?
No.
Actually, no, because they got to clean up. They got to now scrub everything super clean.
They're working extra hours.
Everything.
Thanks to this guy.
But can you blame this guy?
Yes.
He just wanted to take you've got a hot tub. You can't tell me that you're always fully clothed when you get in there. And what's the only thing that can make that better? That hot tub better? One of the best things about Burger King, the smell. And so that's what this guy, he smelled the smell. He's just like, I want a full immersive experience. And so he fully immersed himself naked on the roof of a Burger King in one of their water tanks.
Is the story as bad if he has swim trunks on?
Not as bad.
Not nearly as bad,
Even though
right?
it's still like the same parts are still touching the same water. So it doesn't make much of a difference. It shouldn't, but
the
it definitely
public
does.
nudity on a roof is crazy.
Yeah. Well, I still actually don't have an answer what happened to the guy, but I do have an answer what happened to the Burger King. It's temporarily closed. Something tells me that might be a very long temporarily.
Yeah.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
It's time for Fired or Hired on The Riot. Y'all decide if this coworker is in the wrong. This one here, per usual, a doozy.
Let's hear it.
We have a coworker today that brings her kid to the office every day. Her 3-year-old daughter always comes with her. She said it wouldn't be a big deal if the daughter was quiet and minded her business. However, she is not. She runs up and down the hall yelling while I have clients in my office. I'm frequently asked if the babysitter was not available, and I have nothing to respond with other than nope, she just doesn't have one. This leaves it difficult for my clients to pay attention to what I'm asking them, and me having difficulty understanding what the clients are saying when she runs past. This is a place where seniors who are low income and need assistance desperately come. This isn't a place where parents get assistance with kids. Yeah, it seems like we're in a daycare center for her daughter. She said even sometimes this kid will bust into my office with or without clients in it because she wants attention. The mother is not on top of the child's behavior. She feels as if the kid should not be there. She said, we are a very small office, and I know for certain if I raise a complaint to the board, the boss will know without a doubt that it was me that said it, and she feels she may get in trouble for questioning why the kid is there.
What is the boss's child?
It is not the boss's child, but
Okay.
she does put in the boss in question is her niece, or the person in question is her niece's best friend of the boss. So there's a little relationship there. A lot to unpack.
This is tough. This is tough. Fired or hired. What would you do here? Coworker bringing a child to the office.
Can you imagine if we just had children running
rampant.
around
Yeah.
the studio, the rooms alongside of us?
Uh-huh.
How would I be able to focus and do this difficult job?
Yeah. Yeah, sorry to children. I don't know if they would fit in here in the RadioU building very well, but what do you do here? 8772 RadioU. We need people to chime in with your advice for this coworker that's bringing their child into work and distracting everybody else, it seems. We'll see what people are saying. I need to think about this.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
We've got a coworker that's upset that one of their coworkers keeps bringing in their 3-year-old child to work and not keeping the child under control. Would be one thing, I suppose, if the child was kind of behaved or cordoned off in some area. But in this case, running rampant, doesn't know what to do. People chiming in with their thoughts. Isaiah, Regina says, highly inappropriate, especially since the kid doesn't behave. Not sure if she would accomplish it, but fired if she doesn't get kid under control or in proper care.
Yeah, you got to get the kid under control. I mean, there's no question. But how do you control a 3-year-old?
Yeah. Is there should be like an area of the building that's like the daycare room for this child. If you're going to keep accommodating this worker, right?
Well, this seems like a small business.
Yeah,
from what I'm gathering.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where you would maybe put the child.
Yeah, because a
Sounds
big business wouldn't allow this.
Yeah, or the business would be so big that there would be an area.
Yeah, it's actually something they pre-planned for. Mark says, this is good. I'd formulate some sort of plan to have my client write a letter that the kid bothered them while conducting business.
That's good.
Or have a friend or family member write it because they will know your handwriting.
Very smart.
Clever.
I like that, Mark.
I feel like trying to talk a client into writing a complaint for you, though.
Tough.
That's fraught with danger. All of a sudden, you're going to seem like the person that hates kids. And even though the clients might be a little frustrated by it, you just don't know. Unless they're complaining to you, I feel like you don't know how they're going to react to you being like, hey, can you do me a favor? You know, there's that annoying child that runs around here. Can you complain about them for me?
You need to get not one of your family members, the people know, one of your friends to come in and schedule a fake appointment with you. And then you can have them complain.
Yeah.
You can orchestrate.
You could also maybe do this and organize kind of like and this is really like galaxy brain kind of planning. Organize a little bit of like a Yelp review blitz where you get all of a sudden some 1-star reviews start piling up. Couldn't complete my appointment because there was a 3-year-old child running around for some reason. Start to do that. Maybe try to organize that, see how that goes.
Dee has a good one here.
Okay.
I like this.
Yeah.
She says if there's nothing she can do, she should try to have some quiet, age-appropriate activities like coloring pages or something that you could hand the kid to be able to keep them occupied.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea. She said also try to keep your door locked if possible.
That's an idea. It does feel... It's tough because anytime you bring kids in, Especially your small business, you want to be accommodating, right? But it's starting to it's getting in the way of business here, and it clearly sounds like, and taking care of a kid all day is tough. It sounds like this mom trying to work and take care of this kid all day at the office. Maybe the mom should be working from home. Is that a possibility?
Is that an option?
Yeah. Obviously, you're the coworker. You're not in charge of that, but could that be another solutions-oriented situation there?
Tim says, let the kids help out.
The 3-year-old.
Give the 3-year-old a job.
Yeah, that's right. If they're going to be there, put them to work.
Yeah, 3 years old, that's so young.
Yeah.
You can't even reason with the child.
That's like, what do they say? The terrible twos, right? 3 can't be a whole lot better then. It's not like it's an age where you can be like, hey, chill out, kid.
Bree says, is she a good worker, though? Did anyone ask her if she needs help paying for a babysitter before we just kick a woman out of her job who clearly needs help? I feel like steps can be taken to resolve the issue.
Pay her more.
Pay her more. Give her
or pay
a raise.
for a baby. Yeah, give her a raise.
Or she needs to talk to the boss. Or people need to talk to the boss and be like, hey, can we do something about this child? I feel like we'd make more money here. I'd be more productive if you got this baby out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can't just not say anything because you're afraid the boss is going to be mad at you, because you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It doesn't mean that the woman shouldn't be allowed to bring her child in to work, but you're not wrong if it's getting in the way of you and other people doing work, and the clients are upset about it. So
Tim says have the kid help clean up some stuff. And Laura says a 3-nager is the technical term, I believe. Tough age. That's the truth.
Disinformation, mispronunciations, bad impressions. That's Hudson. This is The Riot on Radio U.
If you missed it today on the show, we had a registered dietitian. This is a woman who went through all of the schooling, and it's a lot of schooling to become a registered dietitian. She knows her stuff. You can find that interview we did with her, Taylor Grosso. That's up on the RadioU RIOT YouTube channel and Facebook page. She said, one of the things she said, Isaiah, was that there are no good and bad foods. Food is not moral. I like that.
I did like that too.
But I have a study here that finds that while there are no good and bad foods, there are attractive foods and ugly foods. And I'm not talking about how the food looks. I'm talking about how you look when you eat it. There's a new study from France that found that people who ate more heavily processed meals, aka junk food, were rated less attractive by the opposite sex. The more Cheetos you eat, the uglier you are.
Well, that's bad news for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's a good thing I'm already married. It showed that that chronic consumption, this is from the University of Montpellier in France, higher consumption of high glycemic foods, those which rapidly affect your blood sugar, showed an association with lower attractiveness ratings regardless of a person's BMI and age. In other words, eating more highly processed food goods like pastries, cookies, and chips may lead to others seeing you as ugly.
Now, my question is it because what these foods will do to you?
Mm-hmm.
Or the actual act of people seeing you eat these foods?
No, it's they weren't showing people pictures of you eating the food. They were just showing people pictures of what you look like.
Okay, well, that makes sense then.
Yeah, so the foods that you eat, it's not you eating Cheetos that's making you ugly. Well, it's not you with a bag of Cheetos that's making you ugly. It's you once you finish the bag of Cheetos.
What do you look like then?
Yeah.
You look bloated. I'll tell you that. You look bloated.
Mm-hmm. And I hate to do this. I hate that I'm using Cheetos as a example because that hits me right at home. But it's true. It's true. This stuff, if you are ugly, blame the junk food.
I'll give you a rundown here. This is personal experience. As I was just a couple months ago, I was trying to gain a bunch of weight, right?
Yeah.
Because I was bulking. And now I've went into the cutting phase. The first week I started cutting, I changed my whole diet, of course. Before I was eating whatever I wanted as much as I could.
Yeah.
I was constantly bloated. It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
I had never been like that in my life. I was bloated so frequently. And I hated it. And I started to question, maybe my stomach just looks this way. Maybe this is just how I look. And then once I started cutting the first week, I started eating good food.
Yeah.
Bloating, gone. Stomach looked way better. Immediately. I mean, the first day,
Yeah.
no bloating anymore.
You've been much more attractive ever since.
You think so? Can you tell the difference?
I can definitely tell.
The bloating gone.
Oh, yeah. Much less inflated and
less acne from the sugar.
Uh-huh.
I'm not fat.
You've got a glow about you.
My skin, your skin, they say it also eating healthier foods.
It makes you greasy, eating all the grease.
It does. You get that nice glow on your skin again. And that twinkle in your eye, maybe?
Mm-hmm. So people can sense that. Even if they don't see you eating unhealthy, they can tell that you eat unhealthy subconsciously, and it's making you. So if you're having trouble getting a date, it might be because you're eating too many. Let's say something else other than Cheetos. Too many burgers.
Yeah, ever since you started eating healthier, you stopped doing that weird walk thing you were doing. That made you look unattractive.
I don't think they tested for that.
What, the walk?
Yeah.
The Hudson walk?
This is just pictures.
Everybody was talking about the Hudson walk, and now you're not doing it anymore.
All right. That's good news. It's just because I cut out the Cheetos.
There you go.
Do yourself a favor and follow The Riot on Instagram at RadioU Riot.
Would you consider yourself a creature of habit?
Very much so.
Yeah, you have your routine you're normally in?
I would say I am like my days, weekdays especially, 95% routine.
You prefer it that way?
I do. I love it that way. Work, I have the same routine every day.
Mm-hmm.
And then my day-to-day life after work, same routine every day.
You don't think it gets boring doing that?
I love it.
I would like you to question your entire lifestyle, if you could. No, but I mean, I think most people actually, maybe not as much as you, but they're creatures of habit. Like you get set doing something one way, and whoever changes, you don't really change that much. Can you think of something, even being a creature of habit, where you did something the same way for a long time, and then you realized you switched to doing it a different way for whatever reason, and you're like, oh, this is actually way better?
I've had things like that.
Yeah. I was listening to, I heard Nene say this recently. Nene did that with his phone company. Because you have the same phone for the longest time, and you're just like, this is just the phone, like whatever. If it has issues, whatever. And then he switched because he moved out of his parents weren't in charge of his phone anymore. So he's like, well, I guess I'm going to switch, and actually happier on the other side.
Well, he loves Nextel.
Yeah, that even is.
Sprint.
Yeah.
He loves Sprint.
Does that even exist anymore?
No.
So, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example for myself. Actually, I don't know if I have one off the top of my head, but I thought Nene's was a good example.
Nene's is a good example.
Yeah, sometimes you just get set in your ways, you do stuff for the longest time, or like he said, you grow up doing the ways that your parents had, doing just whatever your parents had set up for you, and you're like, well, this is the only way I know. And so you never wind up changing. And then when you finally do change, sometimes you realize, I mean, hard to believe, but the way that you were currently doing things wasn't perfect.
That's how it was for me when I used to, one of the big things for me, my gym routine. I'm not talking about going to the gym, but my dog gym.
Oh, okay.
I used to feed him every morning, right when he first woke up, and I feed him at nighttime.
Yeah.
Then I realized, oh my goodness, my dog does not like to wake up in the morning. He doesn't like to eat in the morning. And I was still like, I would put it out there, and he would like eat the majority of it, but then he's having to like go to the bathroom earlier in the morning. Started feeding him in the afternoon time. Fixed like 99% of Jim's morning issues.
Dang, you figured it out. And so occasionally that happens where you just realize you find something that you've been doing wrong the whole time, or just not the best way. And then all of a sudden you switch it, things go totally differently. For a lot of us, we've lived the same way for most of our lives. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of working. I mean, things aren't horrible. Things haven't gone too bad. So I guess this way is fine. And so we never really branch out and are ready to switch. But I'm telling you, one of the switches you could make you might think you're okay now, but think about how much more okay you could be if you're out of a relationship with God. It's something that's worth giving a try. That you start talking to Jesus, let him into your life, let him be a part of every single day. And you might realize, wow, the way that I was doing things without Jesus involved, fine, but nowhere near as good as letting Jesus be a part of things. Jesus loves you. He cares about you. He can make your life better by walking with you every single day, having that way to turn no matter what's going on. If you want to find out more about that, it's as simple as saying, hey, God, show me more. You can also go to radiou.com/free gift.
Find more Riot content online. Riot.radiou.com.